Attention listeners across the galaxy, all the way from Australia to Houston, do we have a pube problem? If so, our friends at Manscaped have cleared you for takeoff with their 4th generation and brand new Lawnmower 4.0. Kick your pubes to the next planet with the Performance Package 4.0. The orbits in your pants will feel like you're in zero gravity when you use the best tools for the job from the leaders in male grooming. Join the 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get your rocket ready for takeoff by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code TAGS, TAGS. What is going on? You are listening to TAGSPodcast, aka Talk About Gay Sex Podcast. This is episode 288, and I'm your host, Steve V, alongside Lincoln, just fresh out of his class teaching. How are you, Lincoln?
I'm good. I'm refreshed. It was good.
Nice. Showered and sounds like you had great
very
classes.
quick shower afterwards, but I had to do that. I love it when you take a shower and you see the dirt in the water.
Oh, yes.
What is happening? Like that bike ride down from Hell's Kitchen on 9th Avenue is just a broken up street mess. So all the dirt in the air is just stuck on me. And now it's not.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And joining us in for Jeremy Ross Lopez is TAG's live co-host Kodi, Maurice, Doggette. How are you?
Hello, darlings. I'm doing wonderful. Thank you. It's so good to be on and with you guys this evening.
Yay.
I love it. I love it. Well, I hope you guys had a good weekend. Lots of things went on this weekend, including the Olympics finally or ended over on Sunday. And this was a cool quote that I heard. If you took all of the out LGBTQ athletes and put them together as a country, they would rank 10th for all medal holders. Isn't that really cool and something that probably hasn't been said or possible in so many Olympics? That's pretty cool,
amazing.
Right?
Yeah, that's totally cool.
There was just so many, including trans athletes. Yeah, I know, right? Exactly. So I thought that was really cool. The other fun thing was I was out and about this weekend, and one of the fun stories that I had was, so I was out with my friend on Saturday night here in New York at the New York Eagle, and this adorable man, he had to be in his, I don't know, early 70s maybe. He was so cute. He came up to me and my friend and had these white socks on, and he asked us in the crowded bar, can I ask you guys a question? Are my socks too high? Because I know. And we looked we looked over down on him and we said, I mean, they're cute socks, but perhaps a little higher than. He says, yeah, I was hoping for kind of more, ankle or a little higher. And I mean, they were like all the way below his knee, like stretched up.
Oh,
He says, well, should I bring him down and scrunch him down? And so we said, well, a little bit. Well, then he scrunched him down and they were like, look like wrinkled up. Well, not that low. You could actually go a little higher. And so I actually got on my knees, not to do that, but to help him out as a stylist a little bit. And I fixed his socks to like a level that was, where the boys are working it right now.
Yeah.
And we said, there you go. And he was like, thank you so much. And he
so
scurried
sweet.
off to have fun. So shout out to that. And I just thought that was so fun. And we were having such a good time. The other thing that, speaking of daddies, recently I've been looking at Instagram people saying they're trying to get rid of their dad body. A guy mentioned that I'm talking to, he has a dad body. I've been hearing that a lot. Have you guys been hearing that? And what's up with the dad body thing? Is it like a COVID thing that
I've been
we
saying
gained
it.
a little
What do
bit
you mean, hearing it?
Have you been saying it?
I got to get rid of this dad bod.
I feel like it's hashtag dad body, and we're all blaming it. Have you been hearing that, Lincoln? You're teaching class, and
classes are just back, just a couple months. I've heard that on and off throughout the years, throughout the past year or two. Yeah, there was the dad bod conversation happening like in mainstream media. I remember they talked about it on The View 2 years ago, maybe longer. So
okay. But have the gays adopted it?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I'm in the Bear Week world, so dad bods are kind of revered, but I prefer a muscle bear over a dad bear. I guess I don't know. Something
That's
I
kind
did
of what I'm
mention
shooting
at
for
one
too.
point, right? Is that I was at Bear Week 7 years ago in Provincetown. I think that was my first, and over the years, I've seen people just get healthier.
Oh,
So that
nice.
was kind of like encouraging. Some people were like, "Oh, the muscle bears are taking over, the circuit queens are taking over," and I was like, "No, actually, I just think people are getting healthier and watching a little more what they're eating. No one's, super fit or super one side of the spectrum or another." So
Hmm.
I don't know. I think dad bod is kind of sexy. I don't know. I think
Yeah,
everyone's
I think
body is
we've
sexy.
adopted it
Screw
to
it.
make.
You know.
I think when we were referring to like the straights, perhaps maybe it wasn't like the hottest thing ever. But now, but the other thing I would say about it is, myself included, during the lockdown, I wasn't in the gym, and I was doing like all these aerobics classes, and every YouTuber sensation. I was trying things, but then I was also watching a lot of TV and not going anywhere and eating what I wanted to, and put on a little bit of extra.
Yeah.
And I've noticed, I'm so happy, even with the damn mask, wearing them in the gym, that the gyms are back open. Because for me personally, I tried everything. I tried, hit classes. I tried running on the track. I tried every kettlebell things outdoors, calisthenics. And really, for me, what keeps me in shape is scheduling and going into the gym, and that works for me. But Kodi, you haven't been back in the gym in a minute, but yet
I
you
haven't.
you have gotten used to your home workouts.
I have. My boyfriend has got me going to the gym more and more. I'm just dipping my big toe into that gym pool right now because I'm so happy with my home workouts, and I can do what I need to do here. So why even go back to the gym? And it's just so crowded, I feel like. So I'm like,
What gym do you go to, Kodi?
we go to Blake, and I don't even have a
Oh,
gym
nice.
membership
Okay.
there. I just go when he goes.
Right.
Nice. Well, keep it up, whatever you're doing. And we love our dad bodies. Keep it up. I love it. Moving on, though, Lincoln, you'll appreciate this story, because we were talking about Ptown during the 4th of July, how many COVID cases were on the rise. And there's this really great story. I'm going to post this on TAGSPodcast.com, entitled "How a Gay Community Helped the CDC Spot a COVID Outbreak and Learn More About Delta." And it's essentially, the CDC has a lot of ways to pick up on COVID outbreaks, but those methods often take a while to bear fruit. And it talks, we triggered the investigation as people were getting systematic, says Dimitri. I'm not going to say his last name because I'm going to screw it up, but a deputy incident manager for CDC's COVID-19 response. And how did they do it? It was thanks to a tip from a citizen scientist named Michael Donnelly. He's a data scientist in New York City's tech sector. He started publishing his own coronavirus data reports early in the pandemic, and he launched a website, covidoutlook.info, with Drexel University's epidemiologist Michael Levasseur. And following leads from his personal network, Donnelly documented over 50 breakthrough cases coming out of Provincetown practically in
Wow.
real time, and shared it with the CDC. And we all remember that time, guys,
Oh
where it
yeah.
was, yeah. And there's some great tips that he literally shared with everybody. One thing I wrote, it's no accident, Donnelly says, that his friends were so open. The norms of the gay community say share your medical history, share your risks with other people so that they can be responsible and take care of themselves as well. He says that came with years of practice within the community, particularly around HIV and AIDS.
Yeah.
And through all this work, they managed to get all those numbers. Like now the numbers in Provincetown have come down. It was thanks to this guy, Donnelly. And I remember seeing all of these CNN stories out of there. And I think it was directly thanks to him. Lincoln, that's pretty cool,
Wow.
because you were also telling us you had friends that were at that weekend, and they were also in real time putting out messages on Facebook, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't Independence Day weekend. It was Bear Week. It was the weekend after 4th of July.
Okay.
So 4th of July is like Circuit Boy week, and then Bear Week got hit really hard.
Oh, wow.
Like COVID hit it really hard. So much so that I was listening to WNYC last week, and they did an advertisement for a full hour show about the effect of COVID on Provincetown during, the week after 4th of July. And it might have all got clumped into like 3 weeks across the board. I don't know. But a lot of friends, I was just on Instagram 2 days ago, the old representative for Keels, Chris, who's a great guy, good friend of mine. He was the ambassador for the Pride Parade like 5 years ago. He was at Bear Week this week, and he was on his Instagram doing a live story about how if he was not vaccinated, he does not know if he'd be alive right now because of how hard COVID hit him. So, and I have, there's a lot. I have friends that have gone to Fire Island and gotten COVID. It's still out there. We didn't succeed when it comes to vaccinating enough people. Yeah. We just didn't, And I'll tell this little story just because everyone should be cautious. It's not about being scared. I know we're tired of the topic, but it's going to be with us for a while, whether we're gay or straight or anything else. I was at the bakery 2 weeks ago and the door was locked because I had Salty Pretzel, my dog, at the bakery, and I keep the door locked so she doesn't get out. And there was a straight couple with a child, man, woman, and child, came to the door. And I said, "Hi, please put on your mask before you come in." And the woman reached for her mask. And the man said, "I don't have a mask. Do you have one?" And I said, "No, actually, we just ran out." And I looked at him and I said, "But you're vaccinated, right?" And he went, "No."
Uh-oh, yeah.
And I went, "So you were just going to come in not vaccinated with no mask, and if I didn't ask you, what is happening?" You know what I mean? And I didn't say all that to him. I just, in my mind, was like, "No, you're not coming in without a mask." So from here forward, you have to wear a mask in the bakery. And it's we are contradictions, right? Because I just taught a class with 10 people in it. I don't know if they were all vaccinated or not. I can only hope.
But they wore their masks.
No, people aren't doing masks in classes right now or at the gym. It's hit or miss.
That's weird because they've said that for New York, and we got to notice
August 15th, it's going to be mandatory vaccination pass to get into the gym. But they haven't required a mask. Same with dining. You have to be you have to show a pass of vaccination to get into indoor dining like we do at the Eagle.
It's true.
Right now.
Yeah, it's interesting because this guy, Donnelly, who said, even for us, even for gay men who have been in the gay nightlife scene for years and years, he said it's not the easiest thing in the world to go to a meeting with 10 CDC epidemiology experts and explain the intricacies of Circuit Week versus Bear Week and just how many hundreds of people they can squeeze into those spaces with terrible music. Donnelly laughs. He then goes on to say, "I've been telling my friends you haven't lived until you've talked about twinks with the CDC." And
That's
it's
hilarious.
interesting, Kodi, because I know I've been going out bar hopping here in New York City, and I've noticed that for the most part, so many of the bars are asking, which I'm so happy, for your vaccination proof, like proof of vaccination. And so our community is a unique community, and we're at the, what are your thoughts though? Because it's like we're at the forefront, and we're also asking for people to prove you're vaccinated.
Yeah, I think it's so amazing. I think that it's going to make people more accountable, just like that story that Lincoln just told about asking if the person was vaccinated before they came into the store, making people wear masks. I just spoke with a doctor friend of mine, and he was saying that in the urgent cares. He was speaking to a nurse there, and he asked her, was she worried about getting COVID? And she said that because that's where a lot of people go to get tested. And she was saying that she wears so many masks and that nobody has gotten sick there, even though more and more people are testing positive for COVID. So the masks work, the vaccinations are working. So we just need to hold steady on this course, basically.
Absolutely. It's like you said, Lincoln, it's still out there. We got to be careful.
And for me, Peter and I, we're really staying home. Like, we used to go to between being in retail and being in a gym setting, that's about as much risk as I want right now.
There's this ad out by Snickers. I don't know if you saw it, but Snickers Yanks homophobic Spanish ad under pressure from LGBT groups. I can't even believe this happened. Snickers pulled a controversial commercial in Spain after many condemned the advertisement, as they say, as homophobic. And it comes after a rise in homophobic violence, including the murder of a gay man. And I remember that story. The company released an apology, but in this particular campaign, they said that we wanted to convey in a friendly and lighthearted way that hunger can change your character. Snickers Spain, that they posted on Twitter. At no time was it intended to stigmatize or offend any person or collective. And I watched the ad. I'll post this on TAGSPodcast.com, but essentially it's in Spanish, but there's a waiter comes up to two guys and asks them, like, what do they want? And one guy in Spanish, who has a very high-pitched voice and somewhat flamboyant, says something, and then the waiter looks kind of at the other guy and throws a Snickers on the table and said, "Is this better?" And essentially, he eats the Snickers and turns into, I'm using quotes, a butch version of the guy, bearded man, and says, "Better?" And that actually went to press. Like, I can't believe that it actually happened. It perpetuates so many stereotypes and homophobia. Can you believe, I mean, Lincoln, you have the Protein Bakery, and in 2021 that this could actually fly.
Yeah, I'm always
even in
amazed by stuff
Spain.
like that. I can't believe that things that fly by and get get published and think that people are gonna buy them. I don't know.
Yeah.
There was a clothing store that I'm a huge fan of, and in an email, it said it had a T-shirt that was white, and on it had lettering that said "white," and then underneath it had like 4 descriptions of the word white, like pure. And I was like, who is gonna wear that on their body? And I clicked on it I should have screenshotted it, because I clicked on it to go, and you couldn't find it for purchase. So somehow the newsletter went out, and the moment the newsletter went out, they like backtracked and just pulled the item. But isn't that crazy? And I remember going to my friend who works at the bakery, and I was like, "You did design for Ann Taylor, and this is not Ann Taylor, but he did like women's clothes." And I was like, "Could you imagine?" And he goes, "Some of the things I saw, they never made it, but you never believe it." So no, I don't understand how stuff like that gets on the air. I don't.
Yeah. Hey guys, your buddy Steve V here, host of Tags Podcast, and I was just thinking about the time I was in the bathtub dating this guy, asking him to shave my ass, and let me tell you, he was all about it. But when he was going down with the disposable blade, I was so freaked out. Like, what did I get myself into? It was so creepy, and I was so fearful that I had to stop the whole thing the minute I felt a nick. Oh my gosh. Well, now there is something out there that I don't even need somebody to do for me. I can do on my own. Are you ready for an out-of-the-world experience, guys? Well, you have to look no further than the Performance Package 4.0 from Manscaped that has just taken off in not only the USA, but Canada, the UK, across Europe, Australia, South Africa, and Singapore. And inside the package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, the Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your whole solar system. First scheduled for liftoff, new Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. This spaceship is here to guide you on a journey to trim your body, balls, butt like I did, and even your anus. That's what I'm talking about. This 4th generation trimmer also features cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 also has a 4000K LED spotlight you can turn on and off when needed for more precise shaving throughout your travels across the universe. And this Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker. It's kind of like having a little astronaut to chop your worst weeds up top in your nose and ear. The Weed Whacker is also waterproofed, and this nose and ear hair trimmer provides proprietary skin-safe technology, which also helps prevent nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate holes. Don't forget about the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and the Crop Reviver to help your little planets be on their A-games while feeling the sun's heat. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts from their Performance Package 4.0. I'm talking about the Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. Ready, guys? You can get 20% off plus free shipping by using our code here, TAGS, TAGS, by going to manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code TAGS at manscaped.com. For a clean trinity and beyond, your spaceballs will thank you. And Spain's leftist political party Podemos wrote on Twitter, in the face of a wave of LGBTQI phobia, including attacks and even murders, Snickers can't think of a better idea than to create a trashy commercial that tells you that you're not yourself if you are effeminate.
Wow.
It's just so
Get them
off. I
Get her,
can't
Jade.
believe. Yeah. I mean, were you surprised, Kodi, when you heard of this story?
I watched the clip and I was just aghast. I read the description first and I said to myself, "Oh, it can't be that bad." But then I watched it and I
It's
saw
bad.
how blatant it was and how they depicted, because the other commercials that are like that are like Aretha Franklin's grumpy or Danny DeVito is grumpy, and it goes from something negative to something positive. So
Right.
that's essentially what they're saying, is that being effeminate is a negative attribute and being a masculine, manly man is something to be revered, basically. So
Right.
I was deeply offended as somebody who is I've come to embrace all aspects of who I am, my femininity and my masculinity as well.
Absolutely. I know. I'm glad they yanked it, but it just seems so incredibly tone deaf.
And the thing that, sorry, I don't want to belabor the point, but thing that's so crazy is they wrote it, they put it into storyboard, they casted it, they shot it, then they edited it and put it on the air. And during all of those steps, not one person went, maybe this, unless they were aiming to piss people off.
Yeah, and
get attention.
The guy who's the before, he's a blogger or something. How come he agreed to this? That's my question.
Oh, is he a gay blogger?
That's what I read, yeah.
More people are going to watch this because of this than would, you know what I mean? Like you just gave other examples of Snickers commercials. And that's kind of a tired, played out thing. I remember Betty White was in one, I think, at one point. And now that's been so played out that the only way for them to get coverage is to cross the line, maybe. I don't know.
But it's a good point, because I was wondering about the person. I didn't know he was a prominent blogger or had social media following. But I was wondering when he, what did he think about playing this? I mean, was the paycheck that good that you didn't stop and say, excuse me, especially if you have a social media following?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At what point do you not just say, this is wrong, people? I cannot do this.
No
I don't
paycheck
know.
is
That's
good enough for me to throw away my morals and my scruples.
No paycheck, right. Exactly. Yeah. Well, all right. I got to ask this question. Kodi, how many times do you ejaculate on an estimate per month?
I did not.
There's a reason behind this question.
All right. I aim for, so carry the 2 times 3. I aim for about 15 times a month. Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Final answer.
All right. Lincoln, if you
Final
were to
answer.
say how many per month, carry the 1, might subtract.
Okay, so I'm going to go generational. When I was in my 20s, I was a lot a day. We've talked about this in the past, like 8 to 10 times a day. I was a big jerk off person in my 20s.
8 to 10 times a day?
Yeah, because after a while it's dry, so there's no cleanup. You just get the sensation.
What?
You've never
I did not know this.
Yes, and that prolonged into my 30s. And then when I've been in relationships throughout my life, depending on how the relationship is, less or more, I've always had a good relationship with myself no matter what relationship, I'm in or not. Now with Peter, it's not so much of a priority, but when I am in California or we're separated, it is, again, a stress reliever thing.
It is.
And I can get up there to like 4 or 5 times a day, depending on what I'm going through.
Well, last week we were talking about the potential, this small study of the more you ejaculate could actually maybe prevent COVID. We were just talking about that. Well, now
really, I'm never going to get COVID ever.
Well, it was a very small study. Well, now they're saying ejaculating 21 times a month may cut prostate cancer risks. The American Cancer Society estimates there will be almost 250,000 new cases of prostate cancer this year, and about 34,000 men will die from the disease. And there's this Harvard and Boston universities found that men who ejaculate, like I said, 21 times a month were a third less likely to develop prostate cancer. This was published in the Journal of European Urology. Researchers pulled the data from 31,000 men who gave their average monthly number of ejaculations. And the data comes from 1992 until 2010. Quote, we evaluated whether ejaculation frequency throughout adulthood is related to prostate cancer risk in a large US-based study. We found that men reporting higher compared to lower ejaculatory frequency in adulthood were less likely to be subsequently diagnosed with prostate cancer. And these findings provide additional evidence of a beneficial role of more frequent ejaculation throughout adult life in the etiology of PC, particularly for low-risk disease. So, not mad at that. I'm
here for it. It gives me something to shoot for. Literally. Double entendre for the win.
Exactly. Yes. Unless you do it too much, then there's no shooting involved.
Yeah. Do you think that does it really mean, like, what if you're dry? Do you still get the benefits, do you think, of it?
I would think so.
Isn't it just because the muscle is being in use?
And muscle?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like the Sex and the City thing when they used to talk about squeezing your vagina.
The Kegels.
Yes,
Kegels,
and we were just talking about it with our Will Tantra. Kodi and I had him on.
I'm doing
the exercise is twice a day, 10 reps, squeeze and feel that warm feeling underneath. And on the last 10th hold it for as long as you can, and you will increase the amount of ejaculation as well as, and it will help with your Tantra experience. So, yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I have a
absolutely.
number to shoot for now.
Yeah.
I did it again, and I didn't even do this one on purpose.
Sometimes I also like Peter and I like to do a Sunday where that's all we do all day. Like, let's
those
just
exercises?
No, like let's jerk off and have sex all day as much as we can. As a couple and together, and see what's the number we can hit. You know what I mean?
Like perfect.
How many times can you blow me in one day?
I love that.
It's a good.
That's hot.
Yeah, it's fun.
Psst. Got a sex conundrum? Need another take on how to handle it in the bedroom? Or in the alleyway? Well, ask Tags. Need some advice regarding your relationship? He's perfect, but again, we got you. DM us for some solicited sex or relationship advice. And listen to our advice on an upcoming Tags podcast. Sometimes you just need a fresh perspective and objective ears. DM us on Instagram @TagsPodcast. We got you. Well, there's an actor out there, a McGory, excuse
Oh, I
me.
love
He was
him.
on. I love him too. He was on Orange Is the New Black. If you guys watched it, he was the
Cop guy, right?
Yeah.
yeah, and I had such a crush on him. He's so cool. And I was looking up his Instagram, and he's so, I hate to use that word woke, but he's very woke with like Black Lives Matter, and
Hmm.
he's really cool. But this was a while ago, but it's resurfaced on TikTok. He confidently said that he experimented with guys before, and despite identifying as straight, he's comfortable sharing that fact. And yeah, he said that in 2018 on sort of a table talk,
Hmm.
but it's kind of come up again. The actor opened up about the idea that more people experiment with their sexuality than society lets on. And he says, when I was young, like a lot of straight boys, I experimented with the other boys, he
Okay.
explained. And that is something that is so common, but nobody talks about. Um, and one of the people at the table talk asked him to kind of clarify, well, what does that mean? And he goes on to say, well, like physically, I don't think it was sexual because I'm straight and I never found myself attracted to boys. But there's this thing where, and I don't need to go into full details, he said, but where just try things, he added.
Yeah.
He added that, and I had so much shame about that for years after, thinking I'm going to be famous one day, maybe, and someone's going to find out and it's going to destroy me. And maybe even at that point in time, it was a little less acceptable. But he decided to speak about it on the panel. And I'm going to say it here. I think that's pretty cool
That's
because,
amazing.
Lincoln, you often talk about a spectrum in general. And what's your thoughts about, do you think a straight actor saying something like being so honest kind of helps the cause in general? Or what's your thoughts about that?
Me?
Lincoln, sorry.
Oh, me. I don't know if it helps the cause. I think it just makes us more human. I think
Right.
it just, we're human beings, and we're so into this cross section and this label and this, which everyone has their identity, and it needs to be celebrated. And if any of them are oppressed, they need to be liberated and protected and celebrated. And I get it, but it is just nice when people are just human. You know what I
I
mean? Like,
I agree
I've
with
slept with
you.
women, I've slept with men, I've had different experiences with different people. I don't think me sleeping with women is good for the cause of heterosexuality. It's just,
Well, yeah,
it
maybe not the
happened.
cause. That was probably not the right question. I guess my point, for me at least, when I read this, what stuck out for me is, when I was younger, I experimented, but I only felt comfortable for the most part experimenting with girls, and ultimately I wasn't really attracted to girls. But I did, as a gymnast, I remember having another gymnast friend, and we were pretty young, like adolescents, I'd say, and we dry humped a few times and took a bath together at another point. And I guess that's sort of experimenting in various ways, and that was kind of my early way of experimenting. And he turned out to be gay in the end too. So I think it's kind of cool in one way for Matt to say this, because we're still, even though there's so many people coming out and we see all these Olympians expressing their outness, but there's still so much homophobia. I mean, we just talked about it in the
Yeah.
last story. And I think for an ultimately straight person to kind of say they experimented with this, it just wasn't for them, I think is pretty good to hear a straight person say that. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Kodi, when you hear
I
that?
I agree with both of you. But I also think that it is good for the cause because anything that normalizes exploring your sexuality and not really putting a stigma on playing around with or having an experience with the same sex, with a boy on boy, girl on girl, or what have you, anything that runs the spectrum and the gamut. I think that the more it is talked about and the more that people are allowed to learn that this is something that is normal and that people can do all the time, and not putting shame on it is good for the cause, and I think that this will help a lot of people.
I
Yeah.
You know what I like about that, Cody, is it's good for the cause of sexual expression and
Yes.
expressing yourself in your sexuality for what it is in the moment. So you're right. I think it's kind of the cause across the board, right?
Yeah, the human experience.
Yeah, that's cool. The human experience. I love that.
Yeah, and I think more examples of this are really good because we seem to keep every week reporting on like out athletes and trans people coming out and some really positive stories. And then we keep reporting on the crazy homophobia that is paralleling all of these stories at the same time. We talked about it on another show where it's the more we are seeing, it's also bringing the inflammation of homophobia to the surface too. And they're kind of happening in conjunction. And I liken it to a pivot in time, a turning point that hopefully someday in culture, society will be able to like look back on and like, yep, that was that turning point where things were changing and you're seeing all of it. So, but I haven't heard I like, we were just reporting on Matt Damon, the other Matt, who didn't know. Was it you, Kodi, and I were talking about it?
I don't think so, but I heard the story.
Who just barely found out that by his daughter that the F word and not talking fag is like not cool.
Yeah,
and he's a even bigger actor than Matt McGory, and so and that was just like last week that we heard that. So to hear this Matt, the better Matt, the one I followed on Instagram today that I have a crush on, not the other one.
He was on How to Get Away with Murder too. So
I was going to say that earlier. That's so funny that you brought
I love him. And you guys, if you follow his Instagram, he's so like into Black Lives Matter. He puts up pictures of books that are about being a white man and learning the experience. I mean, he's so like, I love him. Like he's my new favorite celebrity right now. I'm all about him. So I think it's kind of cool. So anyways, I love that. And we're out of time. And I want to thank my co-host today. Thank you, Kodi Maurice Doggette, for filling in today. It's been awesome.
Pleasure. As always,
you can follow him. Yeah. Follow him. He's a life coach at KMD Coaching on Instagram, or follow his personal account at Mr. Maurice. And Lincoln, follow him at Protein Bakery for his Protein Bakery, at Protein Bakery, or his personal account at Mad Lincoln. Thanks, guys. This has been a lot of fun. We'll continue the conversation. In the meantime, continue having hot gay sex. Yes.
New hot and iced Sunrise Batch Coffee from Dunkin'. A bright and balanced, full-bodied blend brewed so you can get summering from sunrise to sunset. And even after that. Because that's when you can show off those string lights you hung in the backyard. Or rehung. Enjoy a medium, hot or iced Sunrise Batch Coffee for $2. America runs on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary. Limited time offer. Exclusions apply.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy. But also juicy and tender. Maybe crispy, juicy, tender. All one word? Okay, fine. You'll just have to try our crispy chicken sandwich to understand it.
Get a free medium fries and medium soft drink with purchase of any crispy chicken sandwich. Available only on the app. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Price and participation may vary. McDonald's app download and registration required.